Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get ready to rumble! In this corner, starting as white, out of Cambridge, New York, Shawn Lemieux! And in this corner, starting as black, from Mount Vernon, New York, Big Jorge Cabrera! Gentlemen, congratulations on making it to the first ever PSTV chess match. I want a clean fight, no hits above the waist, no stealing your opponent's pawn while they're not looking, and may the best man win.
And we're off. My name is Andrew Gonzalez, and we'll be watching some electric chess, hopefully. Shawn Lemieux playing the Queen's attempt at a gambit, but it was refuted by Cabrera. They're playing a 5-minute blitz time format, so that means that they have 5 minutes each to complete the game, and if they run out of time first, they lose. Lemieux taking quickly in the center with a pawn, worrying about keeping control there. We'll see how Cabrera responds by bringing out his light bishop. Lemieux taking the hanging knight. See if that's a gambit or not. See what's cooking up for Cabrera over here. Now both players relax after the first frantic couple of seconds out of the gate. Shawn having a decided advantage in the center and a material, but a little behind in development as Cabrera plays his knight back into the middle, taking the knight, wanting to invite that capture of the bishop, which is now threatening over on the king's side of Lemieux. Lemieux defends it by developing his knight, and the players will take a second to analyze the position. Overall, I believe material is still even. Now Cabrera plays out his central pawn. He's really looking to kind of take a stranglehold on that bishop in the center. That's a very powerful bishop. Shawn choosing to develop his queenside flank instead. Cabrera not willing to let him have the center any longer. Lemieux challenging that light square bishop in the middle as it's going to be taken. And now Shawn takes back with the queen in the center. His queen is out, looking to threaten more pieces. The queen is always good at challenging multiple things at once, asking a lot of questions out of the position of black. As we hit the 3-minute and 45-second mark remaining to go, Cabrera takes the pawn. Lemieux takes back with rook. Sorry, that's a knight. And now dark square bishop has been activated on Cabrera's side. Now black really wants to castle and really wants to continue to ask more questions of the white position, but Shawn not willing to give him that much time as he castles and is ready to continue his onslaught. Cabrera pushes his D pawn out into the middle. Sorry, that's the E pawn. Lemieux thinking about it. He doesn't want to hang his queen much. He decides to throw out a check. Very elegant way. Oh, that's an invalid move. Can't do that. Can't castle through a check, folks. That queen has vision either on the king or through the position of the rook and the king. They are not allowed to castle. So Cabrera must respond to this by either moving his king or placing a piece in the line of attack. 3 minutes to go on Cabrera's timer. He's taking his sweet time with this one. Very decisive moment in the game. He decides to advance his king out to E7. Shawn's knight still under attack. Now he throws a check. And things are starting to unravel for Cabrera. Cabrera instead dangerously advancing his king towards the queen. We'll see if Shawn can capitalize on this, and he does by bringing the rook in with a check. Looking to add more pieces to the pressure. Cabrera blocks with bishop. That bishop and pawn in the middle is very strong. Lemieux decides to open up the position. Knight takes bishop and rook takes back. And now Cabrera has a nice, strong position here with the queen and the rook on the same file, known as a battery. Always a difficult structure to deal with. As now Lemieux takes the hanging bishop, inviting some chaos here. We'll see what Cabrera decides to respond with. He pushes and creates counterplay on the other side of the board against the white queen. And Lemieux says, let's trade queens. I'm down to trade queens here. How will it go down? Will it be rook takes? Will it be pawn takes?
You can't take it. It's covered by the queen.
Time getting low. Lemieux has about a 15-second advantage. Cabrera chooses to simply defend his queen and his attack. Shawn chooses to continue his attack and, oh, missed an opportunity to take the white queen there. Here's where we're getting to see the time start to affect our combatants here.
I'm going to take those too.
It's now Lemieux playing a dangerous pawn take. Now Lemieux is in his position, trying to clean up all the pawns, and check with the rook. Lemieux hung back rank. What an ending! Shawn Lemieux has just hung checkmate to Jorge Cabrera. Wow! Shawn had everything in that position. He had the advantage in the time, he had the advantage in material, he had the advantage in position, but stopped looking at his own defenses and allowed Cabrera to take advantage and checkmate the white king on the back rank. And we're back with game 2 here at the PSTV studio. The two contestants have switched sides, and Cabrera has opted to open with e4. Lemieux playing a fianchetto over on his queen side and looking to get his bishop's vision over on the king side. Cabrera developing both of his knights as well as his dark bishop, as both sides look to play a little bit more tempered chess in this second game. Lemieux is looking at the King's Indian defense versus somewhat of a London. Here's a take in the center. Let's see how Shawn responds. Last game was a flurry of fireworks. This one seems to be a little slower paced, a little more positional play. Shawn looking to develop his light bishop, potentially at the cost of his knight. As Cabrera responds in the middle with the e-pawn. Both contestants really taking their time with this opening. The King's Indian defense is one that's tough to crack. It really takes some solid piece coordination in order to expose the weakness in the position, and it does take a lot of time, which in a 5-minute blitz game can play to black's advantage. And here we are, Lemieux opting to play his light bishop out to challenge the knight on f3. Cabrera finally takes the hanging knight. We'll see what this response looks like. And here goes Shawn with the take back on f6. With the queen now under fire from the knight on d5. And takes all the way in the corner, putting pressure on that bishop, on that rook. Really looking to open this position up here. Black's queen side is highly compromised, and here comes that knight in with that brutal forking of the king and the rook with check. Lemieux does not have an option to recapture the knight, so his rook will fall. However, the counterplay on his side means that if white opts to take the rook, he will also lose his rook with check. A very even and dynamic position we've got here. And we'll see how Shawn decides to play this. There kind of only is one response. Shawn must protect his king. He really was hoping to castle before that happened, but he let it go too long, and white decided to take advantage. Really, really tactical play by Cabrera.
Someone for G8, right? You have it covered.
So, I wasn't going for G8 anyways.
No, I was going for
Shawn now down almost a full minute and a half in time. He really must make up his mind soon, or he'll lose almost by default. Choosing to slide his king over to d8. See what happens here. Cabrera takes back the rook with the knight, and now Lemieux takes rook with check. This is a tricky position here for both sides. I can only imagine that both sides really don't like what's going on here. But now Cabrera probably likes it a little bit more. Now that he can slide his king back to his knight back to d1.
Let me put you in check one more time first.
Cabrera looks to defend his king from the bishop check, brings the dark bishop back, and the position is looking rock solid for white. And he can't take back with that king. He can't take back with the queen. He must take back. Actually, I'm sorry, he can take back with the king. Can't take back with the rook because it's dead. Can't take back with the knight because it was pinned to the queen. Let's see how Lemieux responds. Will he take queen, or will he retreat his own queen? He would love to play queen d5 check and x-ray the white queen, but that play is covered up by the knight on f3. Shawn needs to start to play a little faster now. He's down full 2 minutes in time. Cabrera should recognize this and start continuing to play tempo. Start to push pieces, get pawns involved. Make Shawn have to think about multiple decisions. Shawn retreats his light bishop. Cabrera pushes a pawn. Looking to open up that center. And there it is, the queen back to e4 check with the x-ray. But the light bishop can block. Shawn now below a minute. Needs to do something. Develops his knight off of the back rank. Looking to recapture that pawn in the center. White more than happy to take, and Shawn holds the position. Cabrera thinking about pulling his knight back out of no man's land, and it's simply recaptured. First blunder of the game. That was straight free. And here we are. Now Lemieux improving his king's safety. Cabrera looking to also improve the safety of his king. Both kings don't really enjoy being in the center of the board, pinned by different pieces as they are. Shawn looking to trade pawns. Gets his bishop back out, and now here we go. That light bishop is pinned. Lemieux is running out of time. He's got to start to think quickly. He really wants to find a way to knock that knight off of e1 so he can take with queen.
There's a lot protecting it.
It's a pretty heavy piece right there.
You take.
Or he wants to take the pawn
You take. I take. You take.
that's blocking the king on c2.
This guy's there.
Now Cabrera has a healthy advantage in time, can really think out his position here. This is what I'm saying, is that timer becomes such a factor. And if you take way too long in the middle game or even the opening,
Pretty good position.
you can find yourself making poor decisions in the end game. Some players view the timer about 30 seconds as a whole piece.
You'll just move.
Pulls his queen into a more active spot. Lemieux responds quickly,
Okay, okay.
moving the queen out of the way. Sorry, that's the king. Cabrera still wants to figure out a way to deal with the pin on the light bishop. Pulls his queen back to d1. Hopefully looking to slide the queen out of the way, and there goes the knight take. Shawn running out of time, 25 seconds to go here. Kind of has to make something happen. Cabrera takes back with the knight. And Lemieux looking to hit it with check. Can't be captured because the rook holds the pin on that c3 square. And Cabrera has to slide his king out of the way. Shawn must account for the fact that the pin is no longer in, but it doesn't matter. He'll trade pieces and hold the pin on the pawn. Again, still looking to create havoc. Lemieux still running out of time, now threatening with the rook. Chooses not to take, and Cabrera blunders his queen. No reason for Cabrera to play quickly here. He's got all the time in the world, and Lemieux is showing experience plays off in these end games. Looking to rapidly promote over here, trying to advance that pawn because he knows that Cabrera's got nothing. Lemieux's got 4 seconds left. His pawn is already in tow. He's got 2 seconds. If he could pre-move, he could. He's got 1 second left to do it. Can he do it? Oh, and the timer runs out. He needed about 1 more second in order to pull it off. If he could pre-move, he would have won this game. Lemieux gonna really be wishing he could have had a couple seconds back from that middle game there.
Yeah, you really.
Hard-fought chess game
Jeez.
by both sides, with Cabrera taking 2 victories to Lemieux's 0. Welcome back to the PSTV studio. We're here with Game 3 between Lemieux and Cabrera. Same opening as from Game 1, as we saw from both sides. Leaning into their preparation strong here, as Lemieux looking to push pawns right away and take a positional advantage. Offers up the knight. Cabrera deciding to play out the bishop, kind of a reverse Spanish opening style. And here we are, about dead even in time after the first few moves. Lemieux rebuting on the flank, pressuring that light bishop out with the pawn. And we slide our bishop back. Shawn continuing to play strong in the center with his pawns. Looking to open everything up. And there's an opening as Cabrera takes with light bishop. Lemieux recaptures with the knight. And Cabrera recaptures again with the knight. And unfortunately, Lemieux is down in the exchange here as he looks to block with bishop. Both sides mulling over what their middle game plan will be. Shawn takes knight for knight, doubling up Cabrera's pawns, creating a weakness in the center, something to exploit later on in the game. Cabrera retreats his knight out of danger. Lemieux has to enjoy having both bishops out on some powerful squares and castles early.
Nice castle.
Cabrera pushes his pawn up, trying to erase his weakness in the center, and chases the bishop back. and takes back with pawn. Lemieux recaptures with the queen, putting some early pressure on that f7 square. Cabrera setting himself up for a castle as well. Lemieux plays his bishop into a new position as Cabrera castles. Lemieux pushes the pawn, attacking the knight. The knight, of course, being guarded by the queen. Slides the knight over. Now the queens can see each other. Where will we go from here? Lemieux's queen is backed up by the bishop. Cabrera's queen is backed up by the rook. Will we maintain the tension here? Or will we see some fireworks here with about 3.5 minutes left per side?
I gotta prepare.
Oh, goodness.
In this position here, you really want to see Shawn continue to play up the tension. And you want to see Cabrera continue to attack as he has the pawn advantage. Instead, Lemieux slides his knight, his queen back out of harm's way. Probably hoping to bring a rook into play. Lemieux really playing with the spatial advantage in this one. He does have to remember about that knight on the flank, though. That can get dangerous really quickly.
This is a very weird position. I don't.
Cabrera, now thinking about it, challenges the pawn on the flank. So far, this is the most solid chess we've seen from both sides.
I'll just take him.
Took 2 games to feel each other out, settle the nerves out, and there's Shawn's rook move.
Exactly what I'll do.
Screaming down that e-file as Cabrera slides the queen out of harm's way.
Give me this guy real
Now look at that.
My friend.
There we go.
GG.
We have checkmate.
Oh.
As soon as that bishop goes back and creates that light battery with the queen, Cabrera must play a pawn move to block the vision on that weak square on the flank. Unfortunately, it did not happen, and Lemieux gets in the win column.
2-1.
I got my respect back.
Great.
Yeah, yeah.
Should have been 2.
It was a rousing evening of chess here at PSTV Studios. I'm your host, Andrew Gonzalez. Thank you for joining in with us this evening, and we will see you next time
Hella fun.
here at
Good
Chessland.
too.